because, I mean, I myself have done many things, different kinds of jobs, but I didn't know who I was. If a man gets too separated from the world or his environment, he gets ill. I think I've seen that in myself and in other people, a certain kind of alienation, loss of harmony. To have harmony, you need to know yourself, and harmony is the greatest peace and happiness. If you don't have harmony, it doesn't matter what you've got.
Meditation is seen as the path towards harmony. The Buddha taught that the main reason we become unhappy in life is that we fail to recognize that nothing can last forever. So we cling to possessions, our youth, happy feelings, our loved ones, in the vain hope that things will never change, and when they do, we feel thwarted and miserable. The aim of Buddhist practice, meditation combined with moral living, is a very down-to-earth one, to find a way of overcoming unhappiness. The Buddha taught that this can only be achieved when we reach a sense of detachment, a perspective from where we're no longer upset by the ups and downs of life. When we accept that all existence is impermanent, we begin to take things in our stride. And once we stop clinging to things as though they last forever, then we begin to overcome unhappiness. So meditation is taught as a way of reaching serenity, and it's one which anybody can systematically follow. The Buddha wasn't a god, but a man who 2,500 years ago found a way of reaching the ultimate serenity, nirvana. But meditation isn't regarded as something just for monks.
Does your meditation include the mindfulness aspect which was taught by the Buddha?
One of the first visitors to the center was Rear Admiral Shattuck. He developed his meditation technique when he was Admiral commanding the Malayan area.
I think what is significant about meditation at the present moment is the way in which it's spreading. It is a form of scientific prayer which people can learn by stages, and not only learn but be convinced by stages that they are doing something which is benefiting themselves, not because they become richer or do their job better, but simply because they feel much more complete in themselves as a more complete person. The object of the exercise is simply to find the inner resources of your being and make more use of them in your daily life. When one has the greater sensitivity that the development of the mind gives you, you are better able to know how to help your fellow men and what they need and what you yourself can give them which will help them on their way. I think this is the object. It's a selfless object. It's not a selfish object, although selfish satisfactions may come from it incidentally.
Meditation is often thought of as a self-centered pastime associated with hippies and dropouts rather than admirals. But many of the people here have come not to escape the world, but to find out how to be more effective in it.
I'm an occupational therapist. I was working in a psychiatric unit with people who had different kinds of emotional disturbance, and I enjoyed the work, but I felt that there was probably a better way to help people, and that really I needed to learn a bit more about life and about myself so that I could begin to have some understanding of the sort of things that were happening to these people. A lot of people say that the monks are very selfish, that they spend all their time working on themselves, and that this way of life doesn't really benefit anybody else very much. But it's benefited me enormously, because what they're doing is living a teaching, and they're making it work, and showing other people that they can make it work too. That's one of the things that they do. to help. They just act as a kind of a living embodiment of the teaching.
Buddhist meditation might seem a rather passive and therefore unrewarding pastime. The monks don't condemn the active life, but their hope is to demonstrate to their neighbours that the most effective actions come from a still mind, and that the path to the still mind is meditation. The Buddha said, when a man attains wisdom through the teaching, he becomes serene and at peace, like a lake, which is deep, clear, and still.
Well, if it hadn't been for this practice and this teaching, I would have ended up in a nut house. You do some meditation, and you conduct yourself very mindfully and peacefully. You get insights into the way your own mind's going round in its own particular short circuits, and you break through a lot of neurotic behaviour patterns, and you find yourself coping with the world again, simply because this training's shown you how to look into your own mind.
Even the most menial work can be regarded as a form of meditation if it's carried out with awareness. The aim of the training is to make them constantly aware of the present moment. Since monks are forbidden to till the soil, this is done by a novice or layman. One of the community is a former property millionaire who now seeks a different kind of satisfaction. The Buddha taught that understanding is more important than believing, and that enlightenment doesn't come in the form of grace from a divine power, but as a result of man's own efforts to understand the teaching.
We've come today to offer a meal to the monks, which is known as dana, and this is an act of giving which establishes a sort of a relationship between lay people and the monks, and it's not, as is often thought, a case of just giving something to gain merit, but ideally, or in the perfect way, giving dana is a case of giving a little bit of oneself, and so it's in keeping with all the basic Buddhist teachings of the dropping one's ego. I've been asked why I'm a Buddhist. It's not very easy to answer that because it's a slow process, and I think a gradual confidence grows, but I suppose it comes down really to the fact that I see, well, it's called dukkha in Pali, which is the old Buddhist language. Probably I understand it as dis-ease, imperfection or suffering, and I see this in others, but more importantly in myself. And I'm of confidence that the Buddhist way of practice is a way of doing away with it gradually. But probably more important than a sort of an intellectual motivation is the fact that I meet the monks. And I think in all cases the ones that I've met have been wonderful examples of the result of the training, the sort of fruition of it, if you like.
พวกชาวพุทธทั้งหลายได้มารวมการกระทำบุญในสถานที่นี้
Today all of you Buddhists have had a chance to come.
One of the monks' main roles is to teach. The idea is that the lay people provide food for the body and the monks provide food for the mind. The sanctuary is a kind of spiritual powerhouse where people come to be recharged.
Many people say Buddhism is very nihilistic, which, when you look at it in terms of you, your little self, living in this vast universe, it is. It's a total annihilation in a sense. But it's an annihilation of that small-minded way of looking at the world, always from you, ego-centered thing. But that's not all there is. And when that dies, something very beautiful comes into being. And that's the side of people who don't understand when they make that accusation. And as I've seen with people who've meditated, the more they've stuck it and meditated and their self has been ground away, they just start to blossom. It's incredible. I mean, if that's death, I mean, that's fine with me.
All this can never be fully understood if all we do is talk about it. Just as we can never know whether an apple tastes sweet or sour, unless we actually taste it for ourselves.